When millionaire Ronald Vinci first saw flight attendant Catherine Pileggi, he knew he was in love. Then the man could not even imagine how their romantic meeting in heaven would end. Ronald Vinci was born on August 16, 1940 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. From a young age, Ron had an entrepreneurial spirit. Already at the age of 20, he opened his first business. Ronald rented premises on the Pacific Ocean in San Diego and began selling Honda motorcycles. A few years later, his small store grew into one of the largest Honda dealerships in California. In subsequent years, Ron opened several more car dealerships. His business was successful. Earnings rose rapidly. People who worked for Vinci said that he was a purposeful, strong-willed person and a strict boss. It is known that Ronald was married to a woman named Pamela. The couple had a son, Carrie. The marriage lasted several years and ended in divorce. After separating from his wife, Ron began actively spending money on expensive toys. The man became interested in collecting airplanes and helicopters. For this purpose, he even bought himself a huge hangar. Ronald lived in a large house in Rancho Santa Fe, California. He received permission from the county commission and built a helipad on his land. Despite numerous complaints from neighbors, Ronald often flew to work by helicopter directly from his home. There were also helipads on the roof of his car dealerships. In 1990, 50-year-old Ronald Vinci met 34-year-old Catherine Pileggi. Their meeting took place on an airplane. The young woman worked as a flight attendant. Catherine Pileggi was born and raised in a close-knit family in rural Georgia. In her youth, the girl took part in beauty contests and charmed the jury with her charm and smile. Attractive, sweet Catherine has always had many fans and suitors. After graduating from school and college, the girl worked for several years as a laboratory assistant at a veterans hospital. However, her ambitions turned out to be too high. She always wanted more from life. In 1980, Catherine left the hospital and got a job as a flight attendant for Delta Airlines. Her annual income was $20,000. The girl liked this job. She watched the passengers and served food. People often spilled drinks directly onto the chairs. Catherine knew that coffee grounds are a good remedy for unpleasant odors in such cases. 10 years later, in 1990, Catherine met millionaire Ronald Vinci on a plane. The man was immediately attracted by the charming and smiling stewardess. The difference in their ages was 14 years. The couple started dating. Catherine moved in with Ron at his luxurious home in California. The lovers traveled often, and they especially enjoyed spending time at the ski resort in Aspen, Colorado. Ron and Catherine's relationship lasted 10 years. Over the years, the millionaire never asked the flight attendant to marry. They broke up. Catherine moved to Florida and began looking for a new man. In April 2001, Catherine, who was already 45 years old at that time, began dating 63-year-old Duilio Corigliano, who worked as an insurance agent and was a fairly wealthy man. The couple met through mutual friends. Catherine told Duilio about her past relationship with the millionaire. The woman admitted that Ron constantly insulted her, drank a lot, and did not hesitate to tell stories about other women in front of her. Catherine admitted to the new man that she put up with Ronald for 10 years because she dreamed of marrying him, but she never received an offer. But Duilio did not delay this and rather quickly called the woman down the aisle. The couple got married in May 2001, a month after they met. Catherine was happy. Afterwards, the newlyweds began to live together in Miami Beach. Duilio said that at the beginning of their life together, Catherine reminded him of a house cat. She was affectionate, calm, quiet, and ate very little. And the woman was terribly afraid of water. She could not swim, not in the ocean, not in the sea, not in the river. Catherine felt wild fear as soon as she entered the water. After a few months of marriage, Duilio noticed that his wife began asking him for money more and more often. She demanded to buy her clothes, gifts, and said that her friends' husbands were not greedy. Duilio estimated that Catherine took from him about $5,000 a month. She lied to her husband, saying that she spent money on education, but was never able to provide the corresponding receipts. A couple of months later, the husband told Catherine that he had rushed into marriage and wanted to separate. The couple was quickly divorced, since they had neither children nor joint property. Court documents revealed that Duilio Corigliano's capital was $4.5 million, while Catherine's accounts contained only $8,000. When the woman moved out of Duilio's house, she asked the man a question with sadness on her face. "What is the point of living? I can't do anything. There is simply no meaning in my life." In 2005, millionaire Ronald Vinci moved to Florida. Friends convinced the man that this state had good climatic conditions and low taxes. At that time, Ron had already sold his car dealerships and made a huge profit. In Florida, in the center of Fort Lauderdale, a man bought himself a luxurious apartment on the 41st floor. Also in 2005, Ronald resumed his relationship with Catherine Pileggi. The woman moved into Ron's apartment. By the way, Catherine's ex-husband, Duilio Corigliano, lived in the same building, only 30 floors below. Duilio did not understand why Catherine again contacted the millionaire, whom she had previously called a monster. Catherine forgot all her resentment towards Ronald and again wanted to marry the millionaire. The woman did not need anything. Neither she nor he worked anymore, but simply lived for their own pleasure. Also, Ronald and Catherine were complete opposites. The man was overweight and loved to eat. Catherine ate little and weighed only 42 kilograms. The man loved noisy parties, and the woman spent almost all her time at home watching crime stories. She almost never wore dresses. Her favorite clothes were shorts and sneakers. Catherine and Ron traveled often. They sailed the ocean, flew to the Caribbean islands. In the woman's diaries, there were entries that she was afraid of the ocean, and Ron constantly forced her to overcome her fear of water. Despite tens of millions of dollars in his accounts, Ronald Vinci loved to visit cheap bars on the Fort Lauderdale waterfront. There, he ordered tacos for $1 and strong alcohol. He was the life of the party, flirted with women but told them that his male organ had long been dead. Guests often gathered at Vinci's house. The millionaire got drunk and became more daring. More than once it happened that he insulted his partner and said in front of his friends that without him, she would have nothing. Catherine was quiet and calm. At parties, she remained silent and fulfilled all the requests of the drunken Ron. She brought drinks and snacks, served his friends. So 5 years passed, and the millionaire still did not propose to Catherine to marry him. Moreover, in 2010, the man began telling his friends that he wanted to break up with Catherine and find himself a younger woman. At the beginning of 2011, Ronald was hospitalized. The man was diagnosed with serious intestinal problems. Doctors believed that the cause of Ron's illness was years of alcohol abuse. However, Vinci himself said that recently he felt that the taste of his food had changed. His friend joked, "Perhaps Catherine tried to poison you?" Ron laughed at the joke and didn't think much of it. In fact, Ronald did not take care of his health. He really drank a lot and also swallowed of pills and hoped that they would help him. They will allow you to relax in the evening and fall asleep. In June 2011, Ronald Vinci bought a new home on the Fort Lauderdale waterfront. The cost of this property was $3 million. 2 steps from the house, there was a place where the millionaire's yacht stood. 70-year-old Ron wanted to spend the rest of his life in this cozy home. His only son, Carrie, and his grandson came to visit him. It is known that the son worked as an ordinary waiter. Ron often joked that Carrie was really looking forward to his death. On the afternoon of June 28, 2011, Ronald's gardener called 911 and reported that his owner had died in an accident. Arriving police officers found the millionaire dead on the floor in the guest bedroom. His body was wrapped in plastic bags, covered with duct tape, and placed in a sleeping bag, which also contained dirty sheets. The top of this bag was smeared with something similar to wet mud. It was coffee grounds. When the officers pulled back the blanket on the bed, they found a cut mattress underneath. The gardener reported that, according to Catherine Pileggi, Ron fell down the stairs, hit his head, and then died. The officers did not doubt for a second that this death was not an accident. During interrogation, the gardener said that Catherine called him late at night and asked him to come to Ronald Vinci's house. The gardener arrived in the morning. In the guest bedroom, he found the millionaire already dead, wrapped in a sleeping bag. A crying Catherine asked the gardener to help her bury Ron. The woman said that Vinci always dreamed that after his death his coffin would be thrown into the ocean. The woman went to the store, where she bought a blue container to put Vinci in, and then take him to the ocean on a millionaire's yacht. She brought the container into the house and dragged it into the garage. By that time, the gardener had already called the police. Forensic experts determined that 70-year-old Ronald Vinci was stabbed 9 times in the chest and neck. There were hammer marks on his head, and the cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head. Ron's friends said that on the eve of the tragedy, on the evening of June 27th, they were visiting him. Catherine prepared the food and Ron got the drinks. The man told his friends that his passport was missing, as well as one of his pistols. At dinner, the millionaire complained that for some reason the food on his plate tasted bitter. And after dinner, the owner of the house said that he did not feel well and fell asleep. It was only 8 p.m. The friends were surprised that Ron went to bed so early. Catherine Pileggi, 54, was brought in for questioning. A few hours later, she confessed everything. Catherine said that at about 1 a.m. on June 28th, a drunk Ronald woke up and began to insult her. At some point, he chased the woman up the stairs, tripped and fell down. According to Catherine, Ron hit his head hard. She helped him up and led him to the guest bedroom located on the first floor of the house. After that, the woman went to wash away traces of blood on the stairs. A few hours later, she went into the guest bedroom to check on Ron's well-being. The man was sleeping. Catherine saw a gun on the bedside table. It was loaded. The woman got scared and thought that Vinci was planning to kill her. According to Catherine, at that moment she lost her mind, grabbed a weapon and shot the man right in the head. During interrogation, Catherine admitted, "I was very afraid. I was angry like never before. I felt like my soul had left my body." Then she walked around the house. She took a knife and a hammer and struck Ron several dozen more times. Afterwards, Catherine wrapped the body in a bag, tried to hide the evidence, and dialed the gardener's number because she understood that she alone could not get rid of the corpse. Here are photos from surveillance cameras that show Catherine buying a large blue container from a hardware store after the murder. She planned to put Ronald's body in it and throw the box into the ocean. The gun used to shoot the millionaire was found in Catherine's car. The weapon had the woman's fingerprints on it. Also found inside her Bentley was a knife, cut out parts of a mattress, clothing, and rubber gloves. There were traces of Ronald's blood on all the things. Catherine Pileggi has been charged with first-degree murder. The woman was arrested and taken into custody, and it soon became clear that Pileggi had recently visited the police station. In May, her sister contacted the police and wrote a statement that Catherine had borrowed money from her and refused to return it. Catherine claimed that it was a gift, so she did not want to give the money to her sister. On May 17th, the court ruled in favor of Catherine. Ronald's neighbors said they heard screams coming from Vinci's house on the night of the crime. A random woman walking her dog at 5 a.m. saw a white car with a large trailer near a millionaire's house. This car belonged to a gardener. Vinci's friends said that Ron had long wanted to break up with Catherine. The couple had not had an intimate relationship for several months. They even slept in separate rooms located in different buildings of the huge house. And just a few weeks before the tragedy, Ronald asked one of his employees to give Catherine $1 million and asked the woman to leave the millionaire's house forever. There was no doubt that it was Catherine who was guilty of the murder of Ronald Vinci. Prosecutors believed that the main motive for the crime was the woman's fear of losing a rich man. According to Catherine's lawyers in her relationship with Ronald, she was repeatedly abused and was a real victim of abuse. The lawyers insisted that the woman killed her partner in self-defense. But why didn't she call the police? Why didn't she tell you the whole truth right away? Why did she endure a domestic tyrant for many years and just didn't leave him? Catherine's relatives defended her in court. The woman's stepmother said that Catherine was always quiet and sweet, did not offend anyone, and did not get into arguments. A forensic psychiatrist confirmed that Catherine Pileggi had some of the characteristics of a victim of domestic violence. However, none of Ronald's loved ones could confirm that they had ever seen abuse in their family. Everyone said that Catherine was calm and never complained about life. During the trial, Catherine blamed Ronald for the sudden death of one of her sisters, Angela. 3 years ago, in December 2009, Ronald, Catherine, and Angela went on a cruise to the Caribbean. Angela was seriously addicted to illegal substances. Then at a party, she had too much alcohol. She felt bad. The woman began having severe convulsions. Catherine tried to help her sister and performed artificial respiration. Angela went into cardiac arrest. She died. And later it turned out that Ronald had given her some pills that evening to make her relax. Catherine believed that these pills killed her younger sister. In 2014, a jury found Catherine Pileggi guilty of murdering Ronald Vinci and sentenced her to 25 years in prison. It is known that the woman is now serving her sentence at the Lowell Correctional Facility in Marion County, Florida. She will be able to be released in January 2034. At that time, the woman would already be 77 years old. Throughout his life, the successful and wealthy Ronald Vinci made many smart decisions, but his relationship with the quiet and modest flight attendant, Catherine Pileggi, clearly became a fatal mistake in the life of a millionaire. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel.